It's interesting being a believer in the marketplace, especially our particular line of work is real estate development. And we end up in scenarios often where we are negotiating for the purchase of a piece of land, or we're negotiating with a town about streets and where they're going to be cut and who's going to pay for what. And it's interesting to step into those scenarios as a believer and to really wrestle with the tension of how we negotiate well. The negotiators would tell you, always find your position of power, right? You want to be in a position of power. So you look for leverage over other people. And, there's a time that Scripture tells us to be gentle as a dove, but to be shrewd as serpents as well, right? So we want to be sharp. We want to be wise, especially if we see our business and our work as God's resources that we are stewarding, right? I mean, we want to be shrewd. We want to be wise. We want to negotiate well. We want to get good deals. I don't think Scripture is leading us away from that. But the gospel changes our relationship to power. It changes the believer's relationship to power, how we perceive power. And part of that is because we see a God who actually gave up his power, right? His strength actually was his weakness, to take upon himself the sin of the world and to actually put himself under the authority and the wrath of mankind who actually crucified him. That is the message of the gospel, right? A God who gives himself and becomes weak in order that we all can become strong. And so I think this tension in the marketplace with negotiations and with power and how we deal with our power or our lack of power, we need to address that differently as believers. And I think we need to always look for win-wins. We need to look for how we can both get where we need to go and also bless other people and serve other people in the process. And so I think that's part of the redemptive work of the gospel in the marketplace, and something we as believers should challenge ourselves. So what does it mean to have the gospel change our relationship to power, and how do we take that into the marketplace? Being gentle as doves, shrewd as serpents, but doing things in a way that honor God and love and serve the betterment of our fellow man. I think we can have multiple bottom lines in the business world as Christians. And so I think it's just something good. It's a tension for us to wrestle with, this relationship of the believer to power in the marketplace.